Hey everyone, I'm HoldenOnHere, and today we're doing our third political video slash stream, right? Obviously we're live as of recording this, and today I wanted to talk about Trump and Elon just absolutely gutting the U.S. government, crippling so many different aspects of it, just to simply make the rich get richer. Now, obviously, this is something I talk about a lot, but I've been, collecting articles, collecting things I wanted to talk about over the last 2 weeks. And originally, this video was going to be more of a lighthearted video, as lighthearted as this could be, about how, Elon is the president, right? Because, we specifically had things like, this, like there's so many fun things I could have talked about, right? How Trump is when they're announcing that congestion pricing is dead in New York, long live the king, and it's a freaking picture of Trump as the king, right? Like, this is insane. This is insane, right? Anyone that is actually like a true American should look at this, realize that this is from, the White House, accounts, and just be disgusted if someone's a true American, right? And so I was going to talk about this, right? I was going to talk about how, freaking, the moment that I'm sure a lot of you guys saw where freaking Elon Musk is doing these interviews with Trump. He's in the Oval Office, right? And just weird, it's going to be the fun, haha, hoo, hee, Elon Musk is the president and we have Vice President, Trump, and like specific moments here. And just look at how weird this looks, right?
This is X. And he's a great guy.
Yeah, I did see the White House posting ICE arrest ASMR. Actually, you know what? Let me try to find that. Let me try to find that straight from the source here too, because I saw that. Absolutely. I live in Canada across the border from Detroit. 25% automotive tariffs will turn my city into a ghost town. Trump says Canada has stolen automotive jobs from America, but Windsor has been building vehicles and shipping to America for 97 years. And as an American and a Canadian, and America, Canada, Mexico, we're all supposed to be trade partners, right? So I don't know what we're doing here. I really don't know what we're doing, going after our allies like that here. But I believe it's still up, because the White House did in fact release ASMR there's just so much. There's just so much. The White House account, right? There's fucking King Trump here, because that's a total American thing to do, right? I don't know. Let's see here. Cause I saw what you were talking about. I bet I could look it up here. Here we go. Oh, and then we have Elon Musk retweeting, haha, wow. This is from the White House. This is from the White House account. They made a deportation ASMR video. A deportation ASMR video. Because this is normal stuff. This is stuff that, every American should be really happy about, right? Whatever your thoughts are, right, on the immigration issues, right? Even if I'm talking to someone that is like pure MAGA, right? Pure deport them, get them out of our country. Is this what the federal government should be doing? This is official. This isn't just some right-wing crazy person, right? Elon Musk retweets it saying, haha, wow. The White House then retweets Elon Musk, right? So I was just going to go on and on about all this funny shit, right? Haha, funny shit. Not funny, right? But like so fucked up that you have to fucking, laugh at it, right? That was what I originally wanted to talk about, right? I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about the fucking Elon Musk appearing to be, as we all knew, right? President fucking Elon Musk here. So Elon, I just want to play this part here.
4-year-old child.
I'm gonna pull this part here.
Spoke while Donald Trump was speaking.
I think if ASMR was a thing in the 1940s Germany, they would have done the same thing. I agree. And people are so happy about this. But here, I just want to. I tried to find a primary source. I don't care about him talking. I'm just trying to show you the. Okay.
What? No. Here it is.
Here it is. I just want you guys to see this.
Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say, what is the goal of DOGE
because first of all, I just want to talk about why are these press conferences happening like this, right? When Biden was in office, all of the Republicans and everything, and to an extent, rightfully so, were always, Biden, it's his administration propping him up. He's got teleprompters, they're just controlling him, right? It's not truly Biden, right? Where are all those people when it's now so goddamn obvious where Trump is at the Oval Office and Elon is here hijacking parts of the interviews? But I'm going to just let this play here.
A significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to, if you
and so it was hard to hear what he said.
Can be difficult.
It was hard to. So in this whole interview, by the way, because I don't want to get carried on about this, because this is what I was going to make this video about. This isn't what the video is about. What I was going to talk about was, in this interview, Elon Musk is trying to talk about why he thinks DOGE is important, why he thinks it's important to be, cutting these things because of all of these unelected official bureaucrats in these things when he himself is an unelected official. But I want to specifically, because I don't know if you guys heard what his son said. His kid literally tells Trump, "You're not the president and you need to go away." Let's just see if you can hear it here.
To restore democracy. This may say to restore democracy.
You're not the president and you need to go away.
Restore democracy.
And kids are kids, right? Kids are going to just say stupid shit. Now you got to think, where is he hearing that, right? Where is he hearing that, to the point where he is now repeating it, so that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to be like, hee hee hoo hoo, let's look out how sad fucking Trump is getting cucked in his own presidency, right? But what I'd rather talk about here, as things, obviously we only do these political streams every 2 weeks, right? And so as I was collecting things, what I instead wanted to talk about, as it continues to keep on happening, is there's two things that happened recently. One, we just have a continuous onslaught of what Elon Musk DOGE is just absolutely fundamentally fucking up aspects of our federal government, right? Whether it's practically completely shutting things down like USAID, whether there's arguments and discussions to be had, whether, some of these government entities needed reform. I'm not someone that's going to say all of our government's absolutely perfect. Absolutely not. But what's happening is he has his entire base think that it's all about him cutting all of these jobs, him firing all of these people. And so that's what I want to talk about here in a second. But it's not about that. His people, right, think that he's doing this to just save money for Americans, right? They're talking about, Trump's going to go ahead and give out a $5,000, a $6,000 DOGE check to every single American based on all the money that we're saving, which I would bet any amount of money that will not happen. That will just straight up not happen. And also the reason being is because the reason any of this is happening is because they need to afford the tax cuts for all of the billionaires. Because for those of you guys that don't know, in 2016, I believe it was 2016, in Trump's first term, Trump got to rewrite the tax code. I don't know the specifics. I don't know if it happens every 10 years or whatever. But we rewrite our tax code, or we can rewrite our tax code every couple, amounts of time, right? And so Trump got to rewrite the tax code, hence giving all of the billionaires fucking tax cuts, because it trickles down, right? If we learned anything from Reagan, it all trickles down. Billionaire tax cuts. Well, believe it or not, when you do tax cuts for billionaires, it costs the American people trillions of dollars, right? And so where do you get that trillions of dollars? they're going to start cutting all of this stuff. So I wanted to go into that and actually look at some evidence, look at some of that stuff. That way, whether you guys are people that are just discussing with friends and family, or you're someone that somehow thinks what Elon is doing is just and he's doing it for the American people, I would like to talk about that, and I want that to be what we're talking about here today. But real fast, I saw a message. I live in Russia. I'm disgusted by what Trump is doing. Just these little interactions with Putin strengthened the ruble, which is terrible since it's money boost for war. I'm trying to stay positive and genuinely hoping it's just a trick, but damage Trump is causing in USA and all over the world now is insane. Yeah. And it's crazy that, I mean, even people from, Russia are watching this video. I mean, obviously goes to show not everybody in Russia is totally okay with what Putin's doing, just like everything Trump's doing. I mean, even though somehow more people voted for Trump than Kamala. And that's something you're going to hear me talk about a lot. I've talked about on the last 2 videos. If you're someone that voted third party, or you didn't vote, as a protest vote, or you just don't think your vote matters. I hope part of what I'm trying to do is get y'all to understand that there's consequences to your actions, right? Not that I can blame a single individual for voting third party, and it's also not that, right? I mean, you could just look at why are young white people just insanely voting for Trump, right? Let's take a look at that, right? Because people always want to talk about, well, more Hispanics voted for Trump this time than they did previously. Same thing with any other marginalized group. Oh, what about the white people? Why are all the young white people continuously voting for Trump? Right? I don't know. Right. And so it's just important to remember that actions have consequences. Right. And it feels like a very, in my opinion, privileged position, at least in an existential political moment like this, where we're talking about electing a fascist dictator wannabe. Speaking of which, actually, I'm gonna jump the gun here a little bit. I was going to talk about this. We'll talk about it at the end. I don't think I actually pulled a link early for it, right? So it's just crazy. It's crazy. He was elected in 2016, sworn into office in 2017. Are you sure he got to rewrite the tax code in 2016? Yeah, let me look it up because he definitely did. Trump rewriting tax code in his first term, and like always, all these political streams, I always would like to, it was 2018. So that's why I like looking this up, right? Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was a major overhaul of the tax code signed into law by President Donald Trump in his first term on 2018. The Senate passed on December 2nd by a party line vote of 51-49. The House passed its version by a vote of 224-201. No House Democrats supported the bill, and 12 Republicans voted against it, right? The law created the single flat corporate tax rate of 21%, and the Tax Cuts and Job Acts was the largest tax overhaul in 3 decades. And the key issue here is it expires in 2025. What year is it? It's 2025, right? Let's just see here. Let's look at some of this while we're here anyways, right? The law retained from the 7 individual income tax brackets, the top rate, the richest, right, fell from about 39.6% to 37%, while the 33% bracket dropped to 32%, the 28% bracket dropped to 24%, 25% bracket dropped to 22%, and the 15% bracket to 12%. The lowest bracket remained at 10%, and the 35%, I'm having a hard time understanding some of these, right? Obviously there was so much stuff in here. Okay, here we go. I need tax years 2024. Why are we talking about 2024 and 2025? This was, let's see here. I'm trying to see what is 2024 and 2025. Why are we talking about 2024 and 2025? I'm trying to find, cut the corporate tax rate to benefit shareholders who tend to be high earners. It only cuts individuals' taxes for a limited period. It scales back the AMT and estate tax and reduces the taxes levied on pass-through income. It does not close the carried interest loophole, which benefits professional investors. Once individual tax cuts expire after 2025, the TPC estimated that the majority of taxpayers, 53.4%, would face a tax increase. 69.7% of those in the middle will pay more, compared to just 8% of the highest earning in 0.1%. So I'm not an economist. I'll admit when I'm not fully aware. I mean, I said 2016 and it was 2018. Bottom line, right? The tax cuts, right? I mean, Trump himself bragged about it, doing it, and bragged that he would do it again. Is just make the tax code benefit those that are super, super rich, right? We're talking about billionaires, right? We're talking about multi-billionaires, right? We're talking about when I freaking, worked on conferences for big, rich people, they're literally having, they're teaching each other how to pay zero in taxes legally, stuff like that. So the key thing here is it expires in 2025. And in order to keep, it up, because once again, it costs a lot of money, like it's like $5 trillion or something to keep, even to keep a lot of these tax cuts for the super rich cost money, right? And so much so money that is why, Trump and Elon are trying to cut everything, right? So this is what we're going to look at here right now. This is recent. This was a couple days ago, right? House Republicans released the budget plans for what they're trying to do, right? Because once again, they expired in 2025. What year is it? 2025, right? So of course, a Republican is in office and has got voted in by more people apparently. So and I just don't know if it's people that voted for Trump truly think that these people actually give a shit about you, or if they somehow believe that it will all trickle down. I don't know, but that's why I wanted to talk about this here today, right? So we're going to just skim through this. House Republicans released budget plan with trillions in tax and spending cuts. House Republicans released a budget resolution on Wednesday, laying a foundation. So this didn't get passed. This isn't the new tax code, right? This is just them saying what they want to do. Advancing President Trump's agenda on border security, defense, energy, tax priorities, despite momentum around a competing proposal in the Senate. I don't need the video. The budget proposal says the White House and Means Committee can pursue up to $4.5 trillion in tax cuts and sets a goal of cutting mandatory spending by $2 trillion. It would also increase the debt ceiling by $4 trillion. So everybody that votes Republican, right, because they think our debt, right, our the debt ceiling, it's too high, we're gonna default, we need to be financially fiscally responsible. Why are we increasing the debt ceiling for $4 trillion? Oh yeah, it's because in order to even keep doing because these tax cuts, one, aren't even fully new tax cuts. A lot of them are just continuing the 2018 tax cuts that cost the government so goddamn much, right? So they're wanting 4.5 trillion in tax cuts, mostly, once again, for the rich people. And in order to do that, they are trying to cut, not even to pay for all of it, just to pay for some of it, by cutting the federal government's spending by $2 trillion. And that's where we're going to segue into DOGE and everything. Elon Musk has been dismantling our government and all of our institutions in order to help pay for more tax breaks for fucking rich people, right? So is that why Trump had so many investments from hyper rich people in his election program? I wonder why, right? I wonder why, right? When we talked about in our first political stream, right? I wonder why there were all those tech billionaires, right? And let's not lie to ourselves, right? We were already kind of in an oligarchy, right? Like capitalism be capitalisming, right? And there's always rich billionaires behind the scenes. We have legal bribery in the form of lobbying. And that is an issue both on Republican and Democrat Democrat sides, right? But there is so off, like we're not even hiding it anymore, right? The current administration and Trump and Elon Musk are just like, we're not even like a secret oligarchy anymore, right? Like we're just like, it's all out in the open. That was something we talked about in our first political stream, right? When all of the front row fucking people at the, at Trump's inauguration were all these tech billionaires. We already knew that. Right? And I want to go over the specifics here because I want you guys to know how much DOGE and Elon Musk have been dismantling parts of our government in order to, once again, not help the people. And let's just finish this, right? The long-awaited budget resolution comes as congressional leaders have been pursuing a massive legislation package under budget reconciliation that would enact Trump's agenda, including resources to bolster border security. That costs money. Extend some of the this is calling them 2017 tax cuts. So I don't know, right? The tax cuts in Trump's first term. Incentivize domestic manufacturing and invest in American energy while working to trim government programs and address the debt limit. How the fuck are we addressing the debt limit if we're also asking to increase the debt ceiling by $4 trillion? Now, I guess that might be an economy thing. Those might be different things. I don't know. But in the House, the process has faded, delays. There's disagreement on how to proceed, right? Obviously, infighting even in the Republican Party. House Speaker Mike Johnson said on Twitter, if they don't want to respect trans people, I will continue to dead name Twitter and dead name the Gulf of Mexico, right? They want to start respecting trans folk. They want to start respecting people having new names. Maybe I'll respect their names. But nearly all House Republicans have been engaged in. Let's see. Our process to deliver. Okay, here. There will be ongoing debates and discussions in the coming weeks. We remain focused on working through the process to deliver on our promises made to the American people. Well, if you guys remember some of the things that Trump ran on and what, if any of you guys have conversations with Trump supporters or anything like that, right? You might hear or have heard a lot of Trump supporters talk about how Trump wants to get rid of taxes on tips. He wants to do some stuff with overtime, right? Some things that would actually potentially help the American people. Why is none of that here? Right? Because a lot of times Republicans and Trump supporters will specifically cite bills that got, introduced into office. Doesn't mean they're a law, right? I mean, as we know, there's a million bills that get put up, right? There were a couple of them that were talking about doing no tax on tips, right? Changing how overtime works. None of that is here right now. I would hope, I would admit I was wrong if in these tax changes, if they throw if there's a pity thing for the working class, like, okay, we're going to give all the billionaires tax cuts and we'll throw in no taxes on tips. I'm actually going to be impressed. I will admit I was wrong in that aspect. If anything, I would still say that it's obviously a way to, to just trick the working class people in the lower and middle class, that they are in fact helping them, when in reality, most of these tax cuts, just like in Trump's first tax cuts, are benefiting the uber rich, right? Why are we not talking about any of this stuff, right? Why are we not talking about all of these things that you promised the American people? You promised to lower grocery prices day one. Also, welcome, happy guy. Everybody else are popping in. Why aren't we addressing the egg prices? Why aren't we, and now Trump's coming out and saying, oh, well, I can't do anything. It's inflation. I didn't do it, even though he ran on no taxes on tips. He ran on reworking how overtime works. He ran on, I guess he kept one promise, fucking all the immigrant stuff. He's just putting a war on immigrants. We've officially sent some of the first immigrants to Guantanamo Bay recently. As he wants to obviously expand what has already been, I mean, even in previously administrations, he wants to get like 20,000 beds there or something. So none of this is helping the working class, right? And I will admit I'm wrong if we actually see the tax stuff happen and they sprinkle in some stuff to try to convince the lower class that the Republican Party cares about you. But once again, as always, wealth doesn't trickle down. If you think that, you know, some CEO making a bunch of more money, they're going to somehow pay their employees more and then it's going to stimulate the economy. No, they're just going to still go get labor from China. They're going to go outsource things. They're going to fire you once you complete your job. They're not going to give you proper benefits, you know, and stuff like that. Trump is good at disabling the brain of his audience. You can't stomach logically what he's saying. Yeah, most of it is just bullshit. And in fact, in this meeting, I don't know where exactly it is. If I was a more professional streamer, I would find it. But there is a moment in this freaking speech or whatever where Elon Musk's he's asked. Did I do this here? I don't think I linked this, but there's a moment where he's asked about his disinformation, right? He's asked about some of the disinformation that's been proved that he's spreading. And he's like, well, you know, I'm going to say a lot of things that are wrong. I just need to be corrected. Huh? You know, like, it's just insane. They only said that to get in power, of course. The only thing they care about is getting people, the rich richer and hating queer people and immigrants. Exactly. Remember when Trump said America will make so much money from tariffs that income tax won't be necessary anymore? Comedy. Yeah. I mean, even like, that's the thing. Trump constantly, before he got elected, was touting these tariffs. And he, even though like 99% of economists will tell you that tariffs are a tax on American people. The tariffs just get passed on to the American consumers, right? And then he finally starts admitting later on, oh, well, you know, maybe the American people will have to, you know, put up with it for a little bit, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. No, in reality, that's another way for them to try to raise money so they can make the rich richer. That is the pattern, right? And welcome John as well. So now I want to go to this article that I found from AP News, who, funny enough, is not allowed in the interview room anymore because they refuse to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, right? He needs to be corrected, but the people correcting him are fake news. Could you provide an example, or are you gonna just say that? If you want to provide an example of someone correcting Elon Musk, I would love to see it here. But so AP News here. AP News did a comprehensive look at all of DOGE's firings and layoffs, right? So as we know, right, from the budget plans, right, they need, in order to pursue up to $5.5 trillion in tax cuts, obviously they're going to fund that via increasing the goddamn debt ceiling, which is something that Republicans apparently constantly claim about not doing. But also mandatory cutting of spending by at least $2 trillion, which once again does not even pay for all of this. Does not even pay for this. So let's just look at some of the things that has been done. Because once again, I would like to say are all of these government entities perfect? No. Is there overspending in all of these government entities? Probably. Is there room to have conversations and, you know, maybe in some specific instances, some amounts of firing? Could that potentially be okay? Yeah, probably. But the problem is that's not what's happening. It is just an absolute crippling, maybe not crippling, right? I can't begin to say I know enough about the ins and outs of how all of these government things, but let's just go through this, right? Thousands of federal government employees have been shown the door in the first month of Trump and Elon's administration, as the White House and its DOGE fire both new and career workers, tell agency leaders to plan for large-scale reductions in force, and freeze trillions of dollars in federal grant funds, which, not to toot my own horn, but the entire time I had debates with people in my own Discord server that constantly said Project 2025 wasn't real. Trump didn't know what it was. If you guys haven't seen our video that we recorded about 2 weeks ago, we went over how it's almost like a third. It's like a third of Project 2025 has already happened, right, by Trump. And a big part of Project 2025 was this large scale reductions in the whole federal government, right? And it is affecting more than just the national capital region, home to 20% of the 2.4 million members of the civilian federal workforce, which does not include military personnel and postal workers. More than 80% of that lives outside of the Washington area. There's no official figure available for total firings or layoffs. The AP tallied how agencies are being affected based on AP reporting and statements from lawmakers and the employee unions. Here is a look at some of the broad and specific ways federal agencies and employees are being affected by the administration's reductions. So we're going to actually, and once again, all of this is a gross oversimplification of what is actually happening right now. But for those of you guys that don't know much about this, this is real good. So I'm gonna go ahead and be a professional streamer, move some stuff here around. Okay. So deferred resignation. This was obviously one of the first things that happened. The White House offered a deferred resignation proposal in exchange for financial incentives like months of paid leave to almost all federal employees who opted to leave their jobs by February 6th. But before that deadline, federal judge blocked Trump's plan, wanting to hear arguments from the administration and the labor unions, which said the offer was illegal. According to the Office of Personnel Management, about 75,000 federal employees had accepted the offer as of February 12th. So first of all, I want to say that federal employees retire every year, right? Like you could look at, I think it was like, there's like over 100,000 people, even in like 2023 or 2024 that retired. So some of these, they might already have been planning to retire that year and just said, okay, screw it. If I'm going to get some financial incentives, sure, I'll do it. Now, once again, I don't know whether this is legal or not, probably not, knowing everything Trump's done. But kind of crazy to just blanket off the board, like just try to do this, right? We also have probationary employee layoffs. There's also been a wide-ranging layoffs of probationary employees, those generally on the job for less than a year and who have yet to gain civil service protection. Potentially hundreds of thousands are affected. On February 13th, the administration ordered agencies to lay off nearly all such workers. According to government data maintained by OPM, 220,000 federal employees had less than a year on the job as March of 2024, right? So obviously they're just trying to pull down anything that the Biden administration did. They don't want any of these people that were hired under the Biden administration to be here. And so that is, once again, a lot of people. Department of Veteran Affairs, right? I mean, you have a lot of veterans voting Republican, thinking that the Republicans are the side of the people that actually care about you, right? On February 13th, the Department of Veterans Affairs announced the dismissal of more than 1,000 employees who had served for less than 2 years. According to Sen Patty, that included researchers working on cancer treatment, opioid addiction, prosthetics, and burn pit exposure. So if you or anyone you know, was affected from how awful we've handled some of our military operations and our military training, right? Via burn pits, right? If you guys don't know about that, that's a whole fucking can of worms that someone has probably made a video essay on, knock something over. And opioid addiction, right? And all of these things. Yeah, these are things that the American that person that voted for Trump definitely wanted taken away, right? Then we have the education department. Is Trump the best or worst president of the 21st century? Well, he's the first president to ever try to cause an insurrection. And he's the first president ever, I believe, that is alive to not attend the inauguration, to not help with the, transfer of power. He's first felon, I believe. First convicted felon of the president to be president. A lot of firsts. At least 39 people have been fired from the education department, including special education specialists and student aid officials, according to a union that represents agency workers. There have been nearly $900 million in cuts to the department's Institute of Education Services, which tracks the progress of America's students. It is unclear to what degree the institute would continue to exist. Industry experts say at least 169 contracts were terminated February 10th. Once again, another huge thing that Project 2025 talked about, getting rid of the education department. Why? Or why do we need to be getting rid of our education department? Now, if you ask someone that's a super MAGA supporter, super Trump supporter, they're going to say that the education department needs to get burned because they're teaching our kids to be gay and they're turning the freaking frogs gay, and we don't need an education department that's turning the freaking frogs gay, right? Like, in reality, not a good sign. I mean, I think any educated person could tell you that even once again, I'm sure there's conversations to be had about is the education department doing as good as it can be? Is it, are there instances, where things could be improved? Sure. And Trump and Elon Musk constantly talking that the education department should entirely be abolished tracks with the fact that they've pretty much crippled the education department pretty bad, right? Pretty dang bad. And yeah, I love that. He's definitely the best felon president for sure. Oh man, I guess the reward was to lower the anti-activism of employees and to make as much as possible of them to leave before judgment will critique and cancel the action, like pre-calculated, considering soon judgment. Yeah. Will Trump make better living only for rich people? That's pretty much what we're talking about here today. That's pretty much what we're talking about, right? They want to extend the tax cuts for the rich. And in doing so, we're not even halfway through this page. They're crippling our government. They're crippling our government, and in hopes to help pay for continued tax cuts for the uber rich. Right. Our Department of Education is far from perfect, but it's literally the worst in red states, where they try their hardest to not just have proper regulation or just straight up ignore them. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's insane, right? We always talk about how America is super uneducated compared to other countries. In fact, that's been something that's been something that Trump and Elon are talking about. Also, Justin Six, thanks for the raid. We're doing a political stream right now, so I don't know if you guys were in a gaming mood or whatever, but we're doing a political stream right now, and we're going. We're here looking at everything that Trump and Elon Musk have crippled in the American government in order to do more tax cuts for billionaires. So if you guys were here in a gaming mood or something, come back almost any other day and we'll be gaming. But we are we are doing some politics right now. But thank you so much. You're working on your game, but that's okay. Hell yeah. But welcome everyone. For those of you guys who don't know, time to grind or holding on here right now. Right now we're holding on here. Because this is a political video for our Holding On Here channel. But either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm gonna just jump back into it. So right now we're going over all of the things that comprehensive look at DOGE's firings and layoffs so far. But if you just want some gaming content, go check out Time to Grind for sure. But okay, so education department, right? The energy department. Hundreds of federal employees tasked with working on the nation's nuclear weapons programs were laid off February 13th, but that move was largely rescinded hours later, according to a memo obtained by the AP. 3 U.S. officials who spoke on condition of anonymity for fear of retaliation said as many as 350 employees at the National Nuclear Security Administration were ousted, some losing access to their email before they were all fired, right? And let's see. This was actually something I wanted to talk about here because they're fired. Like this just shows this isn't for those of you guys or for those of you guys, for people that think that Elon Musk is a fucking genius. He knows exactly which positions to remove. He knows exactly who to fire, right? He's doing exactly what he did with Twitter. He bought Twitter. He fired everyone. Twitter started to become an absolute dumpster fire. He then had to try to rehire some people, right? Completely change how everything, works. And that's exactly happening, right? Because First of all, when you just blanket try to lay off people or bribe people to quit their federal jobs, right? People are going to take you up on that offer, and then you're going to realize the actual instances of what's going on here, right? U.S. government, so this was actually an expanded thing of this part here. U.S. government tries to rehire nuclear staff it fired days ago. The U.S. government is trying to rehire nuclear safety employees it had fired on Thursdays after concerns grew that their dismissal could jeopardize national security. No fucking shit. I could have told you that and I don't know anything, right? The National Nuclear Security Administration workers were among hundreds of employees in the Energy Department who received termination letters. Their department is also responsible for designing, building, and overseeing the U.S. nuclear weapons stockpile. The terminations are part of a massive effort by President Trump to slash the ranks of the federal workforce. U.S. media reported that more than 300 NNSA staff were let go. The number was disputed by someone from the Department of Energy who told CNN that it was really less than 50 people. Include people that are stationed at facilities where the weapons themselves are built. And then the Trump administration has since tried to reverse their terminations, but has reportedly struggled to reach the people that were fired because they locked them out of their federal email accounts. And then they got a letter saying the termination letters for some NNSA probationary employees are being rescinded, but we do not have a good way to get in touch, right? And last week, 10,000 federal workers were let go from several things. Obviously, that's what we're going from, right? And so for anyone that thinks that Elon Musk is a super genius, right? And he knows exactly how to cut the fat, right? And he knows exactly which fat on the federal government is the bad fat and which is its good fat. That's not true. It's just straight up not true, right? My chat likes to make fun of me because my abbreviation is J6 and my company is J6 Games. They say it's the January 6th. Justin 6 confirmed. So how was that? Did you get a pardon? Did you get a pardon, Justin 6? Holy shit, I said about ruining the education system without knowing it's actually happening. I don't watch any inner US news, so I don't know these specifics. I just assumed based on everything they were doing, something was going to happen on the future. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening now. It's happening now. I've met people who are unironically said Twitter is fine, and I'm just like, you don't notice the Nazis in videos and tweet breaking. Yeah, if someone's okay with Elon doing a Hail Hitler, right? I mean, you're not going to be able to have a conversation with them. You know, my relatives basically worship Musk and I cannot understand it at all personally. Yeah. And then, right, you have a video of Elon Musk hailing Hitler multiple times. There's multiple angles. This is something we talked about in one of our first political videos, right? Hailing Hitler multiple times, making jokes about, right, being a Nazi, making jokes about how he is in fact a believer of the white displacement theory. And then all like people, dude, my parents, like my dad's like, oh, well, you know, what about all the other pictures of all of those Democrats that hailed Hitler? And it's like, you know, you see a picture of AOC hailing Hitler, Elizabeth Warren hailing Hitler, all of these things. It's like, go watch those videos. In those instances, it's like a wave. It's like someone waving, right? And that was clipped out of context. When you watch the whole videos, when you watch the whole context, right, it is a Hail Hitler. And anyone that thinks otherwise is just really brainwashed or something, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I have trust in Elon. He is a top Path of Exile and Diablo gamer after all. I know that's a joke, but I don't know if you know, Elon finally admitted that he was cheating. He just hired people to play on his accounts to farm for him. So he's not even a gamer. He's just a fraud that he wants everyone to like him, right? He's not even an American citizen, right? I mean, not that I care about that, but for some party that's caring about anti-immigrants and is trying to deport people, why is someone that came from like apartheid South Africa or South America, like why is he in charge of all this? I don't understand. Like, I don't understand, right? Like he couldn't be an elected official because he's not like fully a US citizen or something. But yeah, we all do a little hail once in a while, right? It's totally fine. Totally fine. Right. So let's continue on. Department of Health and Human Services. The jobs of more than 5,000 probationary employees are on the line at the Department of Health and Human Services. On February 14th, officials with Center for Disease Control and Prevention were told that they were losing nearly 1,300 1,500 probationary employees, about 1/10 of the agency, but the final number was closer to 700, according to 2 CDC officials who spoke on conditions of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the cuts. Probationary employees were also fired at public health agencies, including the National Institutes of Health, the Food and Drug Administration, and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, but HHS has not released a final number. Also, fun fact, Trump and Elon are constantly talking about how they want to completely dismantle parts of, or the entireties of parts of Medicare or Medicaid, right? Because the only handouts allowed are those to rich people. No poor people are allowed handouts. No old people either, you know? So many Nazi jokes on his freaking X account. I've been sending so many screenshots to the people who are in denial, especially when there's so many examples of him being a Nazi. And people are just like, haha, edgy humor, all right? Lost a couple of friends after that. Yeah. Right. And obviously this isn't even talking about all the stuff that we talked about in our first political stream of him, right, getting us out of the World Health Organization, out of the Paris Agreement, right? I'm sure this is going to, we're going to keep talking, right? Department of Homeland Security, probationary cuts included more than 130 employees at the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which oversees the nation's critical infrastructure, including the federal efforts to secure election systems, right? Because why would, nothing sketchy about that, right? It's not clear whether those included 17 employees who had worked on election security and had already been placed on leave, 4 employees at the Federal Emergency Management Agency, its chief financial officer, 2 program analysts, and a grant specialist were fired over payments to reimburse New York City for hotel costs for migrants. The IRS is now laying off thousands of probationary workers in the middle of tax season. So if your taxes are delayed, this is why. According to 2 people familiar with the agency's plans who were not authorized to discuss the matter publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity, it is unclear how many IRS workers will be affected or when the cuts will happen. National Park Service. Now this one, as someone who cares a lot about the environment, this one hurts. This was recent too. The administration fired about 1,000 newly hired National Park Service employees who maintain and clean parks, educate visitors, and perform other functions. The firings were not publicly announced, but were confirmed by Democrat senators and House members. Adding to the confusion, the Park Service now says it's reinstating about 5,000 seasonal jobs that were initially rescinded. Seasonal workers are routinely added during the warm weather months to serve more than 325 million annual visitors. Who descended on the parks. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The administration has ordered the agency, created after the 2008 financial crisis and subprime mortgage lending scandal, to stop all its work. So this is one of the first things besides the education department. This is officially just pretty much getting shut down, unless, some things change and if some judges try to stop some of this stuff. Though once again, Trump, King and Queen Elon Trump, have actually released an executive order saying that they determine the law. And I don't think I showed this here. So I would like to actually pull this up here. Let's see. Trump executive order saying he is the law. I bet it'll pop up. Here. Okay, let's look at this here. Trump issues order to expand his power over agencies Congress made independent. The president is already because what happened, right, is a bunch of judges told Trump and Elon, what you're doing is unconstitutional. It's not legal. And then Trump and J.D. Vance went on a media spree saying that it's fascism, it's a dictatorship. Why are these judges allowed to tell the president what to do when that is the purpose of checks and balances? All of these government entities have checks and balances on each other, right? And so President Trump recently, this was actually this week, issued an executive order on Tuesday that seeks greater authority over regulatory agencies that Congress established as independent from direct White House control, part of a broader bid to centralize a president's power over the government. Once again, this stuff was in Project 2025. The order requires independent agencies to submit proposed regulations to the White House for review, asserting a power to block such agencies from spending funds on projects or efforts that conflict with presidential priorities, and declares they must accept the president and the Justice Department's interpretation of the law as binding. Why? Why? I mean, like, once again, is anyone going to tell me how this is not? I mean, we have the own federal government posting pictures like this. Like, they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying the quiet part out loud, right? I didn't know you did political streams. This is interesting. Yeah, we do them every 2 weeks now. And we post all the videos on our second channel, HoldenOnHere, which this is where this video will be. So if you guys haven't subscribed to HoldenOnHere, this is where not only we do the political videos, but the fun videos as well. So yeah, you know, totally normal stuff. And the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was created right after the 2008 financial crisis. I believe it was a pet project, I think from Elizabeth Warren, I want to say. And this is what helps, you know, protect you from banks doing scummy shit. It protects when someone gets scammed, right? To help maybe get their money back. I mean, this is such a good part of the government, right? For if you are an actual citizen who, oh, okay, you get scammed out of a couple $100,000. Okay, if you're Elon Musk, sure, I'll just fucking whatever. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, right? For the average American, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was great. And there was all these memes about this where Elon Musk was like, all the money that we're going to be saving from the Consumer Financial... Actually, I think I retweeted something here. I think I retweeted one of these things here. Let's see this here. Let's see. People don't believe you because you're calling everyone Nazis. If it walks like a Nazi and it talks like a Nazi and it does Nazi salutes... it's a Nazi. I hate to tell you. This is what Elon Musk, and so this did in fact happen, right? Elon Musk calls for the Consumer Financial Protection a remaining account balance of $711 million to be returned to the American taxpayers. So this was just my favorite meme ever. I receive unregulated banking systems with no protection for people and no avenues through which to address consumer concerns. You receive $2. Because if you do the math, right, Elon Musk saying, oh, well, all their money, we shut them down. All their money should go to the taxpayers. I don't want $2 in exchange for unregulated banking systems, right? And also going back to the person talking about me calling people Nazis, that's not even what we're doing here, right? I mean, we're calling Nazi shit. But what we're doing here is we're taking an actual factual look at what is happening under this administration. So whether you want to do the Nazi argument or not, we're looking at the facts, right? Because I know the right likes to claim that facts don't care about feelings. And yet it really feels like it's like switched. Seems like the right does care about the feelings, right? They don't want to listen to facts, right? We have Elon Musk just constantly spreading misinformation. You know, it is what it is. So for the American consumer, for the average American, there is no fucking reason why you should be okay with, once again, this is just one instant of the government. This is just one part of the government. Look at all this other shit that's getting fucking crippled. And some of it, it's like, you know, I could hear the arguments of, oh, well, some of these were overfunded. Some of these were, you know, we had too many people. Once again, there's rooms for conversation there. There's room for conversation. But for just straight up shutting this all down. And this isn't even talking about Elon Musk going into all of these departments, right? The Department of Education, USAID. I'm assuming USAID is on here. Look at this. We're only halfway through this fucking page. We're only halfway through this page. And once again, I would like to remind everyone that them crippling our government, which won't get, like, it's going to take time to recover if there is a recovery period. This is only helping save $2 trillion when their continued tax breaks for the billionaires and trillionaires, or maybe not trillionaire, but like all the rich people. This isn't even, them crippling the goddamn government isn't even raising half of the money that they want to raise to continue giving all of these rich people more money. So they're going to have to raise the debt ceiling more, right? They're going to have to raise the debt ceiling more. So we're not even halfway through this page of overgeneralized information, right? And we're not even halfway done. The Consumer Protection Bureau got it just in time for the Trump coin. Oh man, I feel like in 2016 you could maybe say don't call them Nazis. At this point, they're shamelessly doing fascist shit. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And hey, not I'm late for this stream. Been excited for it. I knew you'd have a field day. Yeah, we're almost halfway, or we're almost an hour in. But we still got some more. We've pretty much just been going over all of what's being crippled, so the rich can get richer, so let's see here. Okay, let's keep moving. Now this is a big one. This is where a lot of Republican farmers are now fucking around and finding out, right? Agriculture Department. The new Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rowland, said on February 14th that her agency had invited Elon's DOGE team with open arms and layoffs will be forthcoming. A spokesperson for the department, which oversees the Forest Service, says Rowland support Trump's directive to eliminate inefficiencies by firing 2,000 probationary non-firefighting employees. This might be a different thing. Rowland is committed to preserving essential safety positions that will ensure critical services remain uninterrupted, just like the planes, right? The spokesperson said in a statement which did not address the fired workers who were responsible for thinning trees, removing combustible debris, and from the forest and other projects that aim to lower a wildfire's intensity, right? So you can say you're going to fire people that are non-firefighting employees. What about the people that are doing the things to help prevent the fires or to make them less of an issue, right? On February 19th, the department scrambled to once again rehire several workers who were involved in the government's response to the ongoing bird flu outbreak that has devastated egg and poultry farms over the last 3 years, but were who among the thousands of federal employees eliminated on Musk's recommendations. It wasn't immediately clear how many workers the department might be trying to rehire and whether any of them worked at the main USDA lab in Ames, Iowa. So I don't know if this article is going to talk about it, but as part of a lot of government things, right? A lot of, all the Republicans like to say all of these things are wasteful, programs that we're wasting money on. Some of the programs that are getting disrupted right now are things that literally help farmers, right? And now you have all these Republican farmers that I see on TikTok crying that they're going to be losing these vital, services and funds to help them with their farms. They're realizing, it wasn't just going to be other people that got fucked over. I'm getting fucked over, right? And here, you know what? Let's actually, I'd like to pull this up actually here. Trump dismantling farmer protections. Let's see. Let's see. That's PBS. I know Trump hates PBS. Cause I don't know. Let's see. Farmers feeling the weight of Trump policies with the shutdown of aid. Summary: in the last 2 presidential elections, farmers voted overwhelmingly for President Donald Trump. But now some are saying his efforts to cut the government are causing major financial pressure. William Brangham reports and speaks with, there's a story here. So USAID, does this thing talk about USAID? Cause that was like one of the first things they went after. I'm sure this maybe talks about it here, but we're gonna get it. USAID, a federal government agency that provides food, medical, and other aid across the world, was completely frozen in the early weeks of the Trump administration. All right, this is like a student thing. Okay, wait, I guess I'm a student here. Wait, check out recent segments. Wait. I'm not a student. I want the information. Why? Where does U.S. foreign aid go, and does it make an impact? Let's see. This is an 8-minute video here. I'm trying to find. Long story short, USAID benefits farmers in the U.S. by purchasing crops, right? And then obviously, the whole point of that is so we're aiding other countries. We're giving aid to other countries, which all of the USA aid budget was less than 1% of the entire federal government budget, right? And even from a selfish perspective, USAID, right? If we just want to look at this from a purely self-serving purpose, if the entire world is getting aid from us, right? And we're providing family planning services and things like birth control and STD testing and food and medical supplies and medical resources and medical personnel. If we help the rest of the world, who does the rest of the world think is the best? us not Americans, but America, right? If we want to continue to be the world leader that everybody trades with and everybody loves, right? You got to, because what's happening is while in the same breath, right? In the same breath that we're freezing and pulling aid for the rest of the world, do you want to know who is increasing aid? China. China is going into all of these places and being like, oh yeah, I know America kind of like, it's not really helping you anymore. You want me to help you? So now who do you think when some of these countries, maybe they're more developing countries, right? Get developed. Who do you think they're allying with, right? Not America, right? And so even if you're looking at it from a literal like self-fulfilling purpose, even though there was a budget to go help other people, right? If you're someone that doesn't have empathy, I know I talk to a lot of people that just don't have empathy, right? I myself have empathy, right? And so I don't need this argument for why we need US aid, right? But for those of you guys, or for those of you guys that are discussing with people that don't have empathy, it literally benefits America for people to think America's like the savior, right? And so part of this, right, was we purchased, and I'm sure, there's way more into this. I'm literally just looking at, once again, all of what I'm talking about is oversimplification, but that's what you have to do when there's just an onslaught, of shit happening. USAID benefit farmers in the US because it purchases crops from the farmers and then we give them away. Right? We give them away, right? To other countries that need them, whatever, wherever they go. But bottom line is they're helping support farmers because for any economy, for any government, you have to take care of farmers and the transportation of basic goods like milk, like produce. Because if you don't have that at a fundamental level for society, having any more complex aspects of society just don't function well, right? You have to make sure farmers are taken care of, right? You have to make sure that the transportation of said goods exist, right? Because that, if you have transportation for milk and eggs, you have transportation for cell phones, you have transportation for fun little Pokemon cards, you have transportation for, whatever you want, right? Fucking LED lights that I can buy from Walmart to make me think I'm a content creator, So you got to take care of farmers. And so this is one of those instances where majority of farmers vote Republican, majority of farmers voted for Trump. And then all of a sudden, right, because they didn't have empathy, right? And I get it, right? Farming's not an easy job, right? Very hard job, right? Extremely hard. I get that. So I get like wanting to just be super like voting on your self-interests as a farmer, right? Like you think that Republicans are going to be the ones to help you, right? And so you're going to vote for them. One, I hate to say it, but there are stats, right? The more educated someone is, the more likely they are to be left-leaning. So that might play a little bit. I'm not calling all farmers stupid, but it was very obvious Trump was not going to help the average person, right? And so all of these farmers that fucked around, voted for Trump, thinking it was just because they didn't have empathy, right? They didn't have empathy for all of the other people that are going to lose their rights, that are losing their rights, that have already lost their rights, like immigrants, like women that can't even have says on their body, trans people, so they voted in their self-interests. And now they're finding out, right? And I don't want to be super, because once again, farming is a really hard job, but it's just like, I don't understand when people will realize that, like, I don't know, Trump and Elon are just so full of fucking shit. Like, this is all, like, you can't say you're trying to help the people. You can't say you're trying to help bring prices down. You can't say you're going to help fight inflation when I get, like, I don't know. For me, I knew it was all fake. I get that there's people that genuinely believe the things he says, right? I suppose, but like, I don't know, fuck around and find out. I hate to say it. And once again, this is not the way. If you want to have government reform, you don't fucking take a sledgehammer, right? There was literally a video recently of Trump on some fucking, I don't know, doing some conference. It might have been in another country. I don't know. And he's like posing with a chainsaw and being like, yeah, I'm the guy. I'm taking a chainsaw to the government and, and probably throwing a Nazi salute at the end there too. And That's not how you fucking do any of this, because when we're in the middle of a bird flu outbreak and you ran on bringing the prices of eggs down, guess what? Firing the people that would help respond to that is not how you do that. That's not even talking about, the Trump administration getting like scientific papers and stuff being pulled. We're no longer like I think it's like the CDC or something. It's not even allowed to like inform people as much as they were. From like every aspect of our government just getting crippled once again, so they can pay for less than half of their tax cuts for rich people, right? Like none of what the Republicans are doing right now, at least those in this administration, and anyone, even if they're not for this, they're complicit. And anyone that voted Republican, I hate to say, this is what you're voting for. So it's easy to just put your head in the sand and say, no, Trump's going to help. He's going to help. Tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. Egg prices going to go down. Egg prices, no tax on tips. Why isn't any of this in the tax plan? Why are we firing people, and then frantically trying to rehire them when we realize they're vital to our fucking economy and our government? I don't understand. 2 billionaires don't care about the common interest. I'm flabbergasted. I know, right? Thomas Massey, representative of Kentucky, is trying to put through a bill that removes federal funding from the education system in order to reduce the influence of the federal government. This is horrible, supported by Trump. This would make smaller states have to raise taxes, prices, and worsen school conditions. You want free school lunch too? Too bad. Go credit Trump. Yeah. I mean, and that's a perfect example. You have to ask yourself, why is there a party? I like the thing I hate so much. And what I try to tell people is I have a couple friends. I'm going to name call because Red's talked about it on the podcast, on the Neon Apes podcast. Go subscribe to that. He's talked about how he doesn't vote. He doesn't believe in it. He thinks that both are equally evil. And I've gotten in some extremely heated conversations with him because I'm like, I get it. But like the Democrat, like I wanted this man. And the Democratic Party said no. Because they still want money, right? But like, if I could choose the status quo versus where we're headed, I would take status quo over any day, right? And it's just so obvious. There's one party that cares more about climate change, about free lunches, right? Tim Walz, right? The VP running mate for Kamala Harris in his state of Minnesota. Free lunches for kids, because it's proven that if a kid has fucking food in their stomach, they learn better. Right? And it's very easy to do. We have so much food, right? And that goes to waste. And so it just baffles me that people take a look at what the Democratic Party does and what the Republican Party does and somehow thinks that because the Trump administration said that they would bring prices down. They said that they would do things like no tax on tips. They said that they would do all of this stuff. That sounds good. Like it's so obvious. It's so obvious that it's just full of fucking shit, right? But unfortunately, when you have, the average of, it's like let me see. Let me look this up. What percentage of U.S. adults are illiterate? Let's see. Literacy in the United States, because I'm not going to look at the AI stuff. In 2023, holy shit. Overall, only a little bit over half of the U.S. adults are deficient in basic literacy. In 2023, 28% of adults scored it below 1, 29% at level 2. I don't know what those levels mean. Anything below level 3 is considered partially illiterate. Adults scoring below level 1 can comprehend simple sentences and short paragraphs with minimal structure, but will struggle with multi-step instructions or complex sentences. A 2020 analysis by Gallup estimated that the U.S. economy output could increase 2.2 trillion if all adults were at level 3. Right. And Yeah. I mean, it's like, so it's hard. It's easy to be in our own little bubbles, right? And think that everyone's educated. But like, it makes sense. Like, if you're a farmer and you're overworking yourself running a farm, because I know that farming is not an easy job, it's easy for you to not be able to look into all of these things, right? It's easy for you to hear Trump say, oh, well, yeah, we're going to bring the price of eggs down. We're going to bring the price of eggs down. Any normal fucking person knows it's all it's just full of shit. It's just a way for him to make the rich get richer, right? That's all it is. That's all it is. And to, shit on immigrants and gay people and trans people and fuck the environment up and all of these other things. But today we're just talking about the economy because unfortunately so many people don't have empathy, don't know how empathy works, and only vote in their self-interest. And so what I'm trying to do here is to show you guys that unless you guys are a billionaire, voting Republican, voting Trump is not the way to help you. It's just straight up not the way to help you. I promise. I promise. I promise. I work as a teacher. I don't want to see the children there suffer because of fucking billionaires who care about their status and size of ego and influence. Yeah. Dictators are afraid of educated, intelligent people in general. Hurting education systems is only understandable. Trump's trying to turn USA into Russia 2.0. Yeah. I'm so scared of the future of this country, right? And I hope I'm wrong. Also, I'm supposed to be doing some stretches 10 minutes ago. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. And I was just fear mongering, but like, this isn't going to happen. This isn't set to happen. This is happening and has already happened within the first weeks and now, month or two of Trump, the Trump administration, right? It's so obvious to anyone that actually looks into this stuff, right? So let's continue. We did the Agriculture Department, Foreign Aid and Development. So this was probably part of the USA that I jumped ahead a bit. Trump swiftly ordered a halt to much of the aid that the U.S. sends abroad. Several weeks later, the pause is on pause. In the first week in office, Trump issued an executive order directing a 90-day hold on most foreign assistance. Secretary of State Marco Rubio issued several specific exemptions, including emergency food programs and military aid to Israel and Egypt from the freeze on foreign assistance. But thousands of U.S.-funded humanitarian development and security programs worldwide stopped work or prepared to do so without the money to pay staff. Aid organizations, including the U.S. Agency for International Development, began laying off hundreds of employees. Crews removed the agency's signage from its Washington headquarters. And on February 13th, the federal judge considered some of the lawsuits challenging agency cuts and ordered the administration to temporarily lift the funding freeze. But that is why it is so scary when you have Trump. Like this is where the fascism stuff comes in, right? Like when Trump and JD Vance get mad, right? Get mad that there's checks and balances in our government. And they're now trying to sign executive orders, right, to do this. And speaking of which, one of the biggest things Trump did, if you guys remember on like his first week, was try to remove birthright citizenship from the Constitution because he argued that because they're not citizens, the laws of the Constitution don't apply to them, including the law that says anyone that's born here, it is a citizen. And so obviously judges block that and then, get overturned and then there's an appeal and judges block that and then there's an appeal. So now it's going to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court here is going to at some point in the future determine if we're like full on sliding into fascism or if it's going to be more of like a slow crawl that maybe gets thwarted, right? Because the second that the Supreme Court says that an executive order can overturn the Constitution, we are fucked and there's no coming back. I swear to God. If the Supreme Court says that our president in an executive order can get rid of parts of the Constitution, we are fucked. So when we have another executive order happen this week, right, of Trump expanding his power, right? It's insane. It's insane. I don't know how anyone looks at this and defends this. I really don't. It just baffles me, right? Because like, once again, I understand our government's fucked. I understand half of these fucking departments, right, are fucked, right? Could anyone tell me, why we're not touching the defense budget? If we're trying to budget the balances, why are we not touching some of the most wasteful parts of our government? I don't know. You know? Fun fact, newspapers were made using 5th grade vocabulary so the human population could understand them. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Supreme Court vote late in 2025 and congressional elections 2026. Yeah, midterms 2026. So everybody make sure you guys vote blue. I mean, yeah, ultimately, like, and that's the thing. That's why I always talk about, I understand why people vote third party. You know, I understand this isn't the time when we're balls deep diving into some fascism. This is not the time to be like, well, I'm going to vote third party because I can't in good conscience, because there's real shit, right? The Palestinian genocide, right? The Israel-Palestine shit going on. I understand people not wanting to vote for Kamala because they were complacent, the Biden administration, in that genocide. I get that. It was obvious to anyone that looked into shit that Trump himself said that he was going to turn it into a parking lot, and he already did say, oh yeah, we're actually going to go help. We're going to make sure we kick all the Palestinians out. They're not going to be allowed to return. We're going to make them a better place. And the US is now going to be involved in building up Gaza, right? It was obvious. He's resumed the 10,000, 20,000 pound bombs, right? He removed a couple of the sanctions that the Biden administration had put on certain individuals and organizations that were being extremely violent towards the Palestinian people, right? Biden administration, fucking not perfect, right? Not at all. I mean, they were complicit in a genocide. That's fucked. But to anyone that looked into anything, it was so obvious which of the twos was a lesser evil. And I know everyone is so sick of voting for the less of two evils, but we're talking about status quo or fucking balls deep fascism, right? And somehow more people voted for potential fascism. I just don't understand. Right? I hope our worries are wrong, but the USA is nearing the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Any history buffs know that the cycle of a dynasty lasts 250 to 300 years. To grossly oversimplify, we could be on the brink of a genuine American revolution and reform. Hard to say this is a good direction at all. Yeah. And I genuinely don't think that's fear-mongering, but that's why, right? I try to look at the facts. I'm trying to tell you guys the facts. I'm trying to show you guys the facts. So maybe I convince a couple non-voters to vote. I convince a couple third-party voters to start voting blue until the risk of us going balls deep into fascism goes away, right? When we go back to two fucking normal politicians, right, and one of them's not a wannabe dictator, you can vote third party. Am I going to still shit on you for doing it? Probably, right? Because where's Jill Stein? Where's Jill Stein in all of this, right? I don't know. These third-party candidates just keep popping up. They keep popping up during the presidential elections, and then they don't really care about local elections, right? At all, right? And it's just insane. It's just insane. So let's try to get through this here, though. Let's try to get through this. Federal grants and loans. The White House said last month it was pausing federal grants and loans as the Republican administration began an across-the-board ideological review. The freeze could affect trillions of dollars and cause widespread disruption in healthcare research, education programs, and other initiatives. Even grants that have been awarded but not spent are supposed to be halted. The use of federal resources to advance Marxist equity, transgenderism, and Green New Deal social engineering policies is a waste of taxpayer dollars that does not improve the day-to-day lives of those that we serve. Okay, could you tell me how, Matthew Veth, could you tell me how any of the tax cuts to billionaires improve the day-to-day lives of those that we serve? Could you tell me that? Democrats and independent organizations said the move was illegal because Congress had already authorized the funding, right? So once again, unless you're someone that doesn't have empathy, right, and truly thinks that transgenderism is the root of all evil, and you think women having rights is evil, and you think us having immigrants is evil, at that point I can't have a conversation with you. I don't there's no middle ground to have a conversation with you. But what I'm trying to do with the political videos and my political streams here is to hopefully I don't know, try to inform, obviously, y'all, when you guys are having conversations with these people, to have facts to just start spitting out, right? But also to maybe try to convince some people that there's an existential threat to our democracy. I know everybody got tired of hearing Kamala say that. It was true. It was true. It was 100% true, you know? I think you underestimate how simple-minded some Americans who wouldn't vote for a colored woman no matter who else she's up against. Yeah, absolutely. Capitalists want you to believe that you're in competition with immigrants for limited resources, but at the same time, billionaires hoarding trillions of dollars worth of resources doesn't harm you at all because it's not a zero-sum game. Yeah, it's a good point as well. Good point as well. I go to college in Springfield, Ohio, and we legit had to shut down because of bomb threats on the community from Trump. Oh, wow, you are in Springfield, Ohio. Wow. Because of the bomb threats on the community from Trump saying they're eating the dogs. Yeah, I remember that. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy to have a firsthand account there. Yeah. I mean, it's all fear-mongering. What the right wants you to do is they want all of the poor, the lower and the middle class people to infight. They want you to infight. They want you to get mad at each other. They want you to think that the reason that you aren't getting paid properly, or the reason that you're being taken advantage of at work, or the reason that you don't have protections, the reason we have bad health care, the reason we have anything bad for the average American is because of immigrants and because of trans people and because of gay people. I remember being a kid and all of the Republicans' talking points was gay people bad. Gay people bad. They're the root of all evil. From the Christian, uber organized religion, Christian folk, right? Gay people bad. And I mean, it's just it's just all fear mongering, right? They don't want you to think about the fact that they are trying to continue these tax breaks for the ultra wealthy. So they need to literally try to save money however they can so they can line the pockets of all of these fucking billionaires and trillionaires and shit, right? They want you to think that the true issue is because of immigrants, right? Because the fucking immigrants eating the dogs in Springfield, Ohio, right? It's insane. It's insane. And I get once again why some farmer that just worked a 13-hour shift on his farm, right? And he's struggling and he goes home and he pops open a beer and he turns on Fox News, and then Fox News is like, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. The immigrants, they're taking your jobs. Like, yeah, he doesn't have time to look into it, you know? But it's so obvious if you look into it. It's so obvious when you look into it, you know? When you demonize immigrants, you aren't just unempathetic asshole. You're also a pathetic, useful idiot for the economic elites who keep wrecking the economy, robbing us all blind, and funding propaganda to scapegoat immigrants for all the problems caused by the rich. Yeah. And also, right, I don't even know what I was going to say something there. And also just like un-American, right? The whole point is we're a melting pot. And I understand there's problems with our immigration system. I understand. I mean, like, once again, I'm down to have conversations about how the Biden administration fucked up politically with some of the immigration stuff, right? I think they were a lot better than Trump, right? You know, they were trying to expand, some of the legal processes so we could at least, keep track of people and maybe that'll cut down on illegal crossings if there's more legal routes, right? And once again, my whole point, I'm not saying the federal government was perfect. It wasn't at all. But this is not the solution to it that so many people think it is, So we're almost done here. Still more though. Still more. Each of the federal inspectors general, each of the federal government's largest agencies had its own independent inspector general who was supposed to conduct objective audits, prevent fraud, and promote efficiency. Trump has fired at least 17 of them, including watchdogs he appointed in his first term. At least one Democratic appointee, Michael Horowitz, said the Justice Department was spared. Trump told reporters it's a very common thing to do, and he would put good people there that will be very good. I'm sure. For you. Good for you, not for the American people, right? Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer of New York said the firings were a chilling purge. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, a top Trump ally, acknowledged that the firings may have violated the law, but he added, just tell them that you need to follow the law next time. I actually hadn't heard that before. I didn't know that. Because what are these fucking Republicans going to do? You're complicit. You're complicit in fascism literally taking over, right? Your base thinks that all of the issues in the world are because of immigrants, because of lies that you helped push. So what are these people going to do? You have Mitch McConnell now voting against the confirmations of Trump's people, right? Saying that he's going to try really hard to try to make sure the law is followed. Well, congratulations. You helped it. You helped not persecute Trump for his crimes previously, right? Like, you allowed this to happen. You allowed this to happen. If there is one thing I can't get behind, it's diminishing the education system. But more than that, the well-being of the adults to be. I teach middle school children, and I don't have the comprehension to fully realize that these children could grow up to deal with the shit Trump has done, and that they must live with and grow up behind worsened conditions. To a child, having anything taken away is torture. Imagine having your stability as an adult being taken away years before. Yeah. I mean, it's like so many people, like, why would I have kids? We're not taking the climate crisis seriously. Right. We have Trump going drill, baby, drill, you know, and destroying all of the environmental protections, things that, Biden had, to help, that helped with some of these things. You know, it's insane. It's insane. When you support illegal migrants, you want to get their cheap labor, which is in no way protected by law. And that is unempathetic. Well, okay, so I understand that there's an issue with illegal migrants. Obviously, being here in Texas, right? Like, our entire housing market is pretty much supplied via illegal labor, or whatever you want to call it. I understand that's an issue, but once again, like, it depends on, like, who are you putting the blame on, right? Are you going to put the blame on the individual illegal immigrants, right? And say, oh, we got to kick them out, they're the problem? Or are you going to instead take a look at the capitalistic society that we live in, right? And realize that it's capitalism's fault. It's if do you want to know, like, maybe it would be okay if everyone, if it wasn't so important and an existential crisis for everyone to have a job, if we actually had universal health care, if we actually took care of our citizens, right? And if we solved, homelessness and hunger, right? But it's just so easy. It's so easy. There's a party that is for child lunches, free child lunches. There's a party that's not, right? There's a party that is even though completely flawed, right? Trying to tackle, right, the immigration policy is like, that's probably one of the weakest points, right, for Democrats, and I'll admit that. But once again, the other party, let's criminalize them. Let's start now being able to go into churches and schools and hospitals to deport them. Let's expand Guantanamo Bay so we can put migrants there, right? It's so obvious to anyone that looks into it, right? Oh man, we're almost done with this. Department of Justice. It's normal for politically appointed U.S. attorneys to be replaced, but it is not standard procedure for career prosecutors to be ousted with a change in administration. The Justice Department said last month that it had fired more than a dozen employees who worked on criminal prosecutions of Trump by special counsel Jack Smith's team. By tradition, career employees remain with the department across presidential administrations, regardless of their involvement in sensitive investigations. Multiple senior career officials were also reassigned. State Department, a large number of senior career diplomats who served in politically appointed leadership positions as well in lower level posts at the State Department left their jobs at the demand of the new administration. It was not immediately clear how many non-political appointees were asked to leave. So this is just, once again, a gross oversimplification, even though this is a comprehensive, oversimplification of what these two motherfuckers who brag to themselves and to the American people and say the quiet part out loud that this is no longer a democracy, right? At least, I don't know. It's just like, it's so obvious, right? And I mean, this isn't even going into, right? This could be a 7-hour video. This could be a 7-hour video if I actually wanted to go into all of the illegalness of the DOGE team going into all of these administrations and attaching hard drives and like getting access to all of this information. And then there's instances of the DOGE website leaking classified documents. There's instances of the DOGE, the team, Elon's team, DOGE, the people that are now accessing all of this sensitive data. One of them like got arrested or got fired. I think it was got fired from a previous job for like selling the fucking like sensitive data that they had in their job to someone. Like that is someone that we're just in an unelected position going to let get access to all of these government entities, right? And it's just insane. It's insane. I inherently trust someone who risks their life and freedom to live here and is going to care and be a productive citizen over someone who was just born here by no choice of their own. Yeah, also something we talked about in one of our first political streams. It is a proven statistical fact that illegal immigrants commit crimes and especially violent crimes at a lesser rate than U.S. citizens. Once again, for those of you guys that didn't hear it, it is statistically proven that illegal immigrants commit crimes at a lesser rate than U.S. citizens. Now, it doesn't matter why that happens, right? Is that because they're scared to get deported? Is that because they're better people? Is it because they're privileged to be here compared to, you know, some of the scary situations from wherever they're coming from? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just so proven obvious that all of the scapegoating, blaming everything, they're eating the cats and the dogs. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, you know? I watched a video the other day where a farm said that only 4 workers showed up to work when 35 were scheduled because a neighboring farm was raided by ICE. Yeah, that's totally going to be good for food prices. Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I understand the people's arguments of, oh, well, if you're only caring about these immigrants because, you know, prices are going to go up, housing prices, farm prices are going to go up. I don't. I have empathy. Unlike, in my opinion, half of America who voted only based on their interests. I have empathy. So that argument doesn't work on me. I'm just trying to appeal. I'm trying to appeal to everybody that only cares about voting for their self-interests, you know? So if you're only going to care about egg prices going down, that's the only thing you're going to care about and you're going to vote for, guess what? Deporting all the illegal immigrants isn't doing that. It's doing the opposite. And once again, that's not why I think they should stay. I have empathy. And I know it's a complicated process, but what's going on is not the way to do it at all. Illegal immigrants have been some of the most patriotic, hardworking people I've met, while some are, of course, criminals. Some natural-born citizens are criminals too. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know? When you support illegal migrants, you want to get their cheap labor, which is in no way protected by law, and that is unempathetic. Have you ever thought that people might support them because they have empathy? Have you ever thought about that? Have you thought that like not everyone's reason for wanting illegal immigrants is to get cheap houses? Like, we're bringing these things up because it's so obvious that half of the government, half of the country doesn't have empathy. Right. So we have to talk the way that y'all, and I'm talking about Trump supporters, talk, right? Like, if all you're going to talk about is raising the price of eggs and not having an ounce of empathy towards marginalized groups, towards like minorities, towards, trans folk, towards gay folk, towards illegal immigrants. Like, if you're not going to have any empathy in caring about the outcomes of their livelihood, like that's the way we have to talk, right? But GGG, they're eating the dogs. And like, once again, as we've just shown, if you actually genuinely care about increasing the quality of life for the average American, destroying and gutting parts of our government and crippling parts of our government is not the way to do it. Not the way to do it. You know, you have Trump blaming DEI for all these plane crashes that are happening. Why did here? Let's try to look this up. Why Trump? Let's see this. Trump admin firing FAA workers. I'd like to see this. I'd like to see this. Is it DEI that's causing these plane crashes? Or is it the fact that the FAA was already understaffed, right? I believe due to Reagan bullshit. I'm not even going to look into that. This video is already getting longer than I wanted it to be. Or could it maybe have something to do with something like this, right? Could that have something to do with the fact, right? But no, it's DEI. It's the women and it's the black people. Black people and women are the reason that and the illegal immigrants. I'm sure an illegal immigrant just slipped in there somewhere. I mean, they're sneaky motherfuckers. That's what Trump wants you to believe. That's what Trump wants you to believe. And I promise you, it's all a load of bollocks, right? So let me see if there were anything else, right? I mean, obviously I had some more specifics, right? Before I found that AP thing of just the U.S. Forest Service and National Park Service firing thousands of workers. I don't want a single Trump supporter going to a national park. I think you should just not be allowed. Or if you're allowed, I don't know, you're not allowed to bitch when shit is dirty and there's trash everywhere, right? I don't want to hear a single Trump supporter bitch and complain about this at all. Right. I like no national park. If you hear a Trump supporter, I know this is an extremely niche thing, bitching about anything to do with this, right? Like you fucking, it's insane. It's insane. Bro went to say it's a lie and YouTube goes, hell no, and played me a Monzo ad. Okay, let's see. So let's see. What else was there? Obviously they're trying to rehire the nuclear people. This is something here. This is something I want to talk about here. This was an article written a day ago. Musk's DOGE accused of cooking the books after $8 billion savings is immediately debunked, right? We already talked about how Trump is just full of bullshit, right? Full of bullshit. And I know most of you guys know. But I just want to continue to show you guys the lies so you guys can call it out when you hear people talking about it, right? Elon's DOGE falsely claimed that an $8 billion cost saving from a canceled government contract, which was later revealed to be worth only $8 million, which for those of you guys that don't have a high school education, I would like to remind you guys that $8 billion is a lot higher than $8 million. And very, very far from helping get rid of the $4.5 trillion that they're going to need for the tax cuts. DOGE recently published a list of terminated contracts boasting a total of $55 billion in savings. Nearly 15% of that amount, $8 billion, was attributed to the cancellation of a contract with D&G's support services for Immigration and Custom Enforcement, ICE. However, scrutiny of federal records revealed that the actual value of the contract was only $8 million, not $8 billion, leading to the accusation that DOGE had vastly overstated its impact. Right? I mean, you can literally look into some of this stuff here, right? Like let's take a look at this here. Date signed. I mean, I don't know what any of this shit is here. This is them saying it was 8 billion, right? And I guess the DOGE link then changed it after the fact. They backpedaled. Despite the correction, DOGE continued to claim the higher savings figure. The error was first flagged by investigative journalists, prompting DOGE to quietly adjust its figure, but without addressing how this affected the total reported savings. So they're still lying and saying that they saved America this amount of money. And it's just false. It's literally false. Like almost everything that Elon Musk says, right? Then I had some stuff I wanted to talk about, right? I mean, Elon Musk, continuing to say that he would be spending millions in primaries on anybody who opposes President Trump, right? Once again, totally normal things to happen. Totally not an oligarchy, right? Also, Elon, the proponent of free speech, party of free speech, saying the team behind CBS's 60 Minutes deserve a long prison sentence, right? There's all these things, all these claims that CBS was like hiding the full interview with Kamala back then. And then when the whole thing got released, it wasn't even that bad. Like it was just crazy shit, right? And that's ultimately where we are. That's ultimately where we are, right? I could go on and on. I mean, it's already almost a 2-hour video. And stuff like that. And I will go ahead. I will go ahead and share a link. I always post all of the links I always post all of the links of the actual articles in the descriptions of these Holding On Here videos, because I want you guys to have this information, right? I'm not just trying to make content to get famous. I mean, I'd like to be famous, but these political videos I'm not doing to get famous. I'm doing because it's a really it's important. It's a creative outlet for me, and I'm just trying to inform as many people as possible, right? So I'm going to go ahead and copy the link for this entire Google Doc that I've been working with. I'm going to post it in the YouTube chat and in the Twitch chats. And obviously for the Holding On Here YouTube video, for those of you guys watching this after the fact on YouTube, instead of just posting all of the individual links, I'm going to start just posting my whole Google Doc of the information. So if you guys are trying to pull any of these facts, I realize showing someone a 2-hour video of me talking about this isn't going to convince them. They're not going to watch it. But if you want any of the specific things that we looked at, I want you guys, to have all of the tools at y'all's disposal. For real, right? And once again, right? It comes down to, I mean, there's so much stuff. There's so much more stuff that we're going to be talking about, right? The goal is to do a political stream like this and a political video on the Holding On Here channel about every 2 weeks, right? And so I'm in it. I'm holding on here just like you guys are. And we're going to be talking about a lot, right? But today I specifically wanted to talk about just addressing some of the claims that so many Republicans and Trump supporters claim, right? That Elon is this mastermind. Elon is, he's saving the government. The Republican Party and the Trump administration cares about the working class citizen, because it's just not true. It's not true. A working class citizen benefits from having regulated banking, right? We benefit from, farmers benefit from, things like USAID, right? In a selfish way, we benefit from the entire world thinking that America is a leader, right? That gets us better trade deals, right? What doesn't do that is all of these tariffs and us dismantling all of these government entities. And it is so obvious to anyone that looks into it that this is all just a money grab. All of these billionaires, just like in Trump's first term, right? Trump's tax cuts in his first term benefited the uber rich. And did any of that trickle down? No, it never trickles down. Trickle down economics is bullshit. It's not real. And so I don't think some people understand that, like, this is the reason that Elon and Trump are dismantling the government, right? They're not doing it because they genuinely care about me and you. They don't genuinely care about egg prices. They don't genuinely care about any of that. In reality, in order for them to continue the outrageous tax cuts on the uber wealthy and the uber wealthy corporations, in order to continue funding that going forward, because once again, this expires in the previous tax thing expires in 2025. It's not even more wealthy tax cuts, right? It's some of their tax cuts are to try to get even more. But in reality, it's so goddamn expensive to keep letting all of these rich people get richer. Believe it or not, when the rich keep getting richer over and over and over, that affects the average American, right? And I'm not even talking about only lower and middle class. I mean, I'm genuinely talking some higher upper class people, like, okay, yeah, maybe you save a little bit of money on your tax cuts. How's it going to go when you fucking get cancer? And we don't have a good healthcare system? How is it going to go when all these farmers go out of business because they don't they can't handle it? How are egg prices going to go down, right? When there's a bird flu going on and we're firing and then frantically trying to rehire all of these people that were tasked with that. None of this helps the American person. And I will fucking take back some of my words if when we see tax plan, if there is even a shred, right, of, they throw a little morsel, right, of, oh, okay, we won't tax tips. Here you go. We're not going to tax tips. I'll take my word back on a little bit. I still ultimately are going to say, okay, you're not taxed on tips, but now we don't have a Department of Education. and we don't have any park rangers, and the environment's dying, right? Like it's that wouldn't be enough. But I don't even think Trump's gonna do that, because they're not in the proposed things right now. They were in proposed bills that are not currently in the proposed what Trump and them are pushing, right? It's only so the rich can get richer. And people need to know that. People need to know that, you know? So who cares about empathy? You do not need it to understand that functional civilization is generally beneficial to everyone, you included, no matter who you are. Better employees, better food, better healthcare, and a safer world, friendly people everywhere. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. So, so I think this is where we're going to end it. This video was already way longer than I thought it was going to be. But for those of you guys watching after the fact over on the HoldenOnHere channel, thank you so much. Like I say, I'm doing this, cause it's a creative outlet. It's something I'm really passionate about. And I want you guys to know I'm holding in here with you. Just like you guys are. That's all any of us can do, and just try to get as informed as possible. And as, was shown even in this video, right? I'm okay being proven wrong. I would like to be proven wrong sometimes, right? Because I care about facts, right? And I'm trying to give you guys the facts for when you guys have debates and conversations with people, that, maybe, are not aware to this stuff or don't understand the scope of this stuff. Also, I'm going to keep playing it, right? If you're someone that voted third party, if you're someone that didn't vote or protest voted or has never voted, get voted, get registered to vote before the midterms. Hopefully we're not balls deep sliding into fascism. We'll see how some of these Supreme Court cases go. But this is not the time to third party vote. I promise. I'll only shit on you a little bit for third party voting when we recover, but when we're balls deep going into fascism, it's not the time to third party vote. I promise. And with all of that, I guess this is how we'll conclude. Obviously, if you want to break from all of the political videos, we have a whole playlist, and half of the content on this channel is fun and lighthearted. The other half is the political. I didn't want to make it either just fun stuff or just political stuff. Maybe in the future, if politics die down and things get a little bit more calm, maybe this channel can just be a happy-go-lucky channel. But for now, I very much enjoy just having it be a creative outlet for whatever we do. So if this is stressing you out, go check out some of the fun HoldenOnHere videos. If you want more of the political content and look into some of the deep dives and videos and streams that we've done in the past, there's a playlist for that as well. But either way, if you guys are watching after the fact on YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe, ring that bell like what the big boy YouTubers say. That's what I say on the Time to Grind channel. I'm supposed to say, consider subscribing and ringing that bell so we can try to get the HoldenOnHere channel up to the Time to Grind channel in subscribers. Keep holding on, and I'll see you guys later.